What's going on, guys? Zombie Wars here, and welcome back again to another video. In this video, we will be discussing Dead by Daylight and the potential chapter in November. That chapter being an unknown licensed chapter with some hints alluding to it possibly being none other than Stranger Things. Before we get to this video, be sure to leave a like on this video, and also if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Every time this channel receives a new subscriber, a Demogorgon gains its wings. So even though we are half a year away, I wanted to speculate on what I believe is a massive license. In November, we will be getting a chapter that is licensed that features not only a killer, of course, but two survivors. Two survivors is something that only two other IPs have gotten in Dead by Daylight before, one being Stranger Things and the other being Resident Evil, with both being relevant to this video in particular. This of course is not counting Tools of Torment. There's many theories going around about this chapter, and recently we've gotten news with Stranger Things that possibly makes it a little more plausible than originally expected. The new Stranger Things season recently was giving a release date, that being the final season of the show. The new season of Stranger Things is set to premiere on November 26, which lines up extremely well for what would be the release of the November 2025 chapter. For me, this actually does add credibility to Stranger Things entering the fog, because when Stranger Things was originally added to the game, it was in promotion of the third season of the show. So it's possible that Behavior and Netflix could work again on another chapter to promote the final season of the show. There is one problem with this, of course, and that's that Behavior and Netflix relationship has seemed strained over the years. With Stranger Things being removed from the game due to a license agreement not being signed, which, as we all know, later on, Stranger Things did return to the fog. But even though it's in the game today, it has received absolutely nothing in terms of cosmetics or attention at all since when the chapter was originally in the game. This suggests that it was only brought back to the game for what I can only assume because of the peer spam that Netflix was receiving to bring the chapter back to the game. Essentially free money for Netflix. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the situation between Behavior and Netflix is. However, at the end of the day, business is business, and it's possible that Netflix would partner with Behavior again to make another chapter, as the original Stranger Things chapter was a massive success for a DLC. I think this is plausible due to Netflix removing Stranger Things for what I can only assume Netflix's failed attempt at making games. If you don't know, Netflix started making games and they didn't really go anywhere with that. It didn't really bode well for Netflix, so I think they went back to the idea of collaborating with others. It's also worth noting that in Behavior's DBD player survey, they actually do contain Netflix properties still listed on their properties to request into the game. Primarily, one of them I saw was Squid Game, which of course is on Netflix. This suggests that the ties between both Behavior and Netflix aren't dead. Of course, they could just put this on there just to gauge interest to see if they can work out something if it's popular enough. But I feel like if their relationship between the two parties were dead, I feel like it wouldn't be on there at all. That one might be a bit of a reach, but I still think it is relevant. I think it's within the realm of possibility that this chapter could in fact be another Stranger Things chapter, maybe focusing on the Vecna with two survivors who I can only assume to be Joyce and Hopper. If we get another chapter, it's also possible we can get some legendary skins. One legendary skin I would love to see come into the fog would be Robin. I would love to play as her. She's one of my favorite characters from the show, so it'd be really cool if she can come into Dead by Daylight. It also would be a little funny if we got Vecna in DBD, since we have the real Dungeons & Dragons Vecna now. However, Vecna's in-game name is just the Lich, so I'm sure it could still work out, even if they're both called Vecna. Though I guess it would be a little confusing, I suppose. Either way, I feel like that's not enough to stop Stranger Things from adding Vecna into the game, just because both of them have the same name, as they're both entirely different entities that have no association with each other than name. Several years ago, there was leaks going around about there being a Stranger Things map coming into the game based on the Rainbow Room from the series. Of course, as we all know, nothing came of it. It's possible that there were maybe talks between Behavior and Netflix all the way back then about including Stranger Things into DBD as another chapter. Either way, I don't believe that the relationship between Behavior and Netflix are entirely dead. I just feel like that Netflix maybe isn't as gung-ho on putting licensed content into other properties, but I don't think they're entirely outsing Behavior and not working with them anymore. I think that would just be ridiculous. At the end of the day, money speaks, and I feel like for Netflix, this would be free money. Stranger Things is also extremely beloved in Dead by Daylight, though that part I don't know if Netflix would really care about that much. I actually hosted a poll on my channel for you guys to vote on between the three most likely options, that being Stranger Things Chapter 2, Resident Evil Chapter 3, and Predator. Now, I'm not familiar with the Predator license, so I'll have to watch the film still before I can say anything on that. It did rank higher than Resident Evil though, at least of recording this video. However, I would like to still discuss the possibility of, I guess, the evil route, I suppose, and quite honestly, what I personally think is also very likely. Although, with the recent Stranger Things news, maybe less likely than I anticipated. And that, of course, is a possible Resident Evil Part 3 chapter. It's no secret that out of all the licenses that Behavior has done in Dead by Daylight thus far, Resident Evil has been a fan favorite, being the peak of the DBD player count to this day with the release of Nemesis and having the killer with the highest pick rate until Ghoul with Albert Wesker. Though this will probably get overthrown by Springtrap in just a few weeks. Many people want more RE content in the game, and there's still so much they can do, with many people requesting both Resident Evil 7 content as well as Resident Evil Village content into the game. The two survivors, I suppose, could be Ethan and maybe possibly his daughter Rosemary. The wrench in this situation is that, to my knowledge, Rosemary is 16, which would mean they would have to age her up in DBD, as no minors can be survivors in the game. They of course did this with Yoichi, so it's entirely possible they can do this here. And unlike Yoichi, it would not be that much of an age difference, as it would just be 2 years. Besides this small little issue, I would consider this a solid choice for what I would presume to be a Resident Evil Village chapter with, of course, none other than Lady D. Although I think a chapter based on Resident Evil 7 with Jack Baker would also be really nice as well. I do want to quickly bring up the possibility of there being Jurassic Park. There were rumors going around about it happening. I can definitely see there being a killer and 2 survivors for this, although I feel like it would definitely get a map, and as we all know, this chapter is not getting a map. There were rumors we were going to get a Jurassic Park chapter, but it was debunked by DBD leaks. So that leads me to think, are they wrong about this too? Are we possibly going to be getting Jurassic Park in DBD? I don't know if I would consider it likely. I do think it's definitely at the bottom of the list, but the fact that these rumors have been incorrect on their validity, with Springtrap actually being Axtrap, I don't think it's fair to write off Jurassic Park from being a viable option. Ever since Axtrap has pretty much been confirmed with, the release of the PTB, it's kind of made a lot of rumors that were said around the same time as Axtrap seem more viable. And like I said, one of those rumors was Jurassic Park coming in the DBD. I still do find it hard though that Jurassic Park wouldn't get a map. I feel like that would be the license that would get a map for sure. So what do you guys think? Do you believe that this chapter will end up becoming Stranger Things? Do you think it's going to come back into the fog as some sort of reunion chapter with new characters? Or do you think it will be something else entirely? Either way, I think this chapter is going to be huge, as it has 2 survivors, which again is something reserved for like the big boy chapters, aside from Tools of Torment, of course. Well, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day, and peace.